In 1989, Steve Just and I went to Argentina to look specifically for high crops, but just for anything. And on that first trip down there, we eventually shipped home two 20-foot containers full of tractors and one-cylinder gas engines. I kept out of that first shipment. I have a 1967 730 diesel high crop and a export G high crop that was built in Waterloo but shipped to Argentina. We flew into Buenos Aires and then drove to Tucumán, which is in the tropics, is where they used the high crops. They continued to build 730s in Argentina after they quit building them here. They built them until 1972 in Argentina, and they quit building them here in 1960. Quite a big percentage of them, comparatively, were high crops because they had an area where I think they primarily were growing sugar. You're using them for sugar cane. When we were up in Tucumán, they were still using some of the 730 high crops. And this guy was driving this one along the road, and it was completely wore out. I mean, there wasn't a thing on that wasn't shot. It's amazing that it ran. And the tractors that we imported, most of them had a lot of hours and were very worn. But the front wheel, the whole front end was just going like this, and it was slobbering fuel and oil everywhere. But they were still using it. We found a 110 horsepower K steam engine down there that we did purchase, but then ran into problems exporting it out of the country. So we ended up reselling it in Argentina, but another gentleman did finally get it back to the States. I guess most of the unique things that I saw were John Deere's. I have a picture that Steve took of me tracing the silk screening on the side of an early D that said El Triunfo on the side of the hood instead of John Deere. And I also have some photos of an H John Deere that had Triunfo on the hood. It was a very interesting trip. We saw a lot of interesting cultural things, that were far different than what we were accustomed to here.